Alrighty, it's time to begin. Once again, some more art. Hello and hello. Sorry I've been absent yesterday. I was at a convention with friends and it was very fun. But since I was doing that yesterday and today is a holiday, I was like, okay, we will do an art stream today. So that is what we are doing on Monday rather than Sunday. Just moving schedule stuff around a little bit. And of course today, guess what? It's more backgrounds. It's more debris. It's going to be a lot of drawing that today. It's got to get done. There's a lot of it. I kind of debated whether I wanted to work on backgrounds for the ending or if I wanted to do stuff, because I do have the backgrounds roughed out for the next Eldritchrune main scene. But eventually I decided, now we'll just work on the ending stuff today and save the next scene for another day. Especially since a lot of it is like drawing cubes and stuff like that, which is going to not make much sense in the time period. Hello, thank you for coming. I am determined to draw a thing. It will be a lot of, debris thing, but still I will get through it one way or another. But thank you for coming. I hope you're doing well on this holiday. It was very cold out today. I don't know why it was like colder now than it was in January or whatever, but I was out yesterday getting some food after the con and I'm like, sheesh, it is cold. Ooh, holiday vacation's fun. Are you going anywhere or just kind of hanging out? Going anywhere special? I don't know if I've done like a destination vacation in a long time. Ooh, that's a nice one. Spanish Isles. That would be pretty. That would be lovely. Hope you have fun. Goodness gracious. Well, I guess the last, new destination place I went to my brother's wedding last summer, and that was in Vermont, which was very pretty. And I had not been to before, so at least that was a new place to go to. And I should, if all goes well, be going to Italy this Christmas to see my family there. Which I have been to before, but not for a very long time. And I'm sure it'll be pretty as well. Well, I wonder how cold it'll be. Last time I was there, it was really cold. And there's not a hole in the ground like there's a hole here. Oh, nice. Where in Italy did you go? There's obviously a lot of places to see in Italy. Any particular city, country? Rome and Milan. Good choices. Good choices. Both plenty to do there. I've been a couple different places in Italy. I've been to Rome, little Milan, mostly Florence, and we did go to Venice once. I kind of like to go back there. I haven't been there for a very long time. And was there anywhere else we went in Rome? I think those were the main places. I don't speak Italian though, so I'm going to struggle. I'll have to depend on family and friend to get by. My non-existent Italian. I only know some German, and even then I've forgotten like almost all of my German. I knew it much better when I was a kid. Now, when you don't use something, it just it goes bye-bye. Such is the way of the worm, the caked up worm, I guess. Good grief. Remember when people were all freaking out about that? Yeah, it's an okay, like, stopgap, but I wouldn't trust it for, like, Google Translate ain't perfect. It's definitely going to miss some nuance, and there's always the chance that, I don't know, something is going to get translated super wrong. there are phrases that you know, make sense in one language and then they just do not work out well in another. Well, I got this ask I gotta respond to. It's like, why don't people use the Japanese translation more to improve their theory points? I'm like, because that's a different language. Like, yeah, Toby can speak Japanese, but like, the game is still written in English, and then it has to be localized to another language. It wasn't, like, intended just for Japanese. Same way, if you have a game or a story that's in Japanese, that was the intended language it's in, you have to actually think of, okay, if I'm going to localize this for English, how, like, some things need to change. There are some, like, concepts and stuff like that just doesn't really reach across that cultural and language barrier very well, and you have to think about, like, how can I get that idea across? Hello, thank you for coming. It's morning here, evening for you, I suppose. Thank you for coming. I'm a little worried people won't show up because it's not the usual time. It's Monday instead of Sunday. I do drawing streams on Sundays, but yesterday I went to a convention with friends. I was like, I'm going to go to a convention. I haven't gone to one in a while, and I had a really fun time. It was a great time, and since today is a holiday, at least it is here in Canada, I'm like, I'm going to do the stream on Monday instead of Sunday, since I'm going out on Sunday. So that is why. Yeah, it was very fun. I bought a bunch of stuff. I got some stickers and a keychain and a bunch of pens and stuff like that, and I got this cute little dragon plush. Canada. Yeah, true. I had to be pushed around in basically a wheelchair thing, like a temporary wheelchair thing, because I still have my foot injured, and while I can walk, the doctor said you should avoid walking on it. Don't put pressure on it for like 6 weeks, which is a really long time. I'm like, well, I still want to go to the convention, but I shouldn't be putting pressure on my foot. And friends suggested, well, we'll just get a transport chair and cart you around. So I said, okay, that's probably the smart thing to do. So got a transport chair, which kind of ended up saving our bacon a bit, because first they were like, no, tickets are sold out until like 3 p.m. You can't get in. And we were like, and I'm like, but except we're like the accessibility table sort of thing, because I'm in the wheelchair thing. Oh, sorry, a doodle request. Nova from Magic Knight Ray Earth. Okay. And happy birthday. Let's go look up Nova from Magic Knight Ray Earth. I'm sure I'll find it in the search engine. Hold on a second. Nova Magic Knight Ray Earth. That's an old school anime. Alright, let's see. That's an old school thing. Let's do it. Okay. I might miss chat here. Let me see if I can move this over slightly. Boop. Okay. And we'll pull up the thingy. Good grief. Why is my layers always missing? Okay. Let's do one of these real quickity lickety. All-time favorite. I don't think I ever... of course, now I'm going to get confused about which which things I'm using. But yeah, we'll see how I do. I've never drawn this character before, so let's see how that comes out. But yeah, so I was at the accessibility table because I'm in my wheelchair, and they're like, oh, we're not selling tickets until 3 p.m. because it's full. And I'm like, but you can sell them to me here, and I need all my friends are gonna, you know, switch off pushing me around and stuff like that. And eventually they were like, okay, and they gave our group all tickets for, you know, to get into the con. So I was like, oh, well, it's a good thing I injured my foot, I guess, because otherwise we would have been stuck outside the con for like most of the day. So, yay! My foot. I got hurt just in time. That said, it's really not fun to hurt your foot. Well, it was just for the convention. Like, I can walk, and stuff like that, I'm just, like, not supposed to. I'm supposed to avoid putting pressure on the ball of my foot, because the thing that doctor said was injured was, like, 2 tendons on my right foot. Like, if I put a lot of pressure on the ball of the foot, it hurts quite a bit. So the friends have suggested, hey, I was like, oh, I really want to go to the con, but I shouldn't be walking because it's going to hurt my foot. And friends were like, oh, we'll just push you around in a chair. So I was like, okay. And that worked out pretty well. Okay, here's a weird thing that happened, though. So I was getting pushed around in the chair all day, and it worked out pretty fine, you know. Different friends, you know, traded off doing that, and it was fine. And when I got home, and, you know, after a long day, I'm settling down in bed, and I got, like, this weird, like, ghost sensation of, like, still getting pushed around in the chair, like I was still in the chair moving. It was extremely weird. It's like, okay, I don't know how many people know this, but you know, like, if you go to the beach and, like, you get in the ocean and stuff, and you spend a long time in the ocean, you know, we're playing around in it and stuff like that, and the ocean has, like, you know, certain a very, like, you know, you get, like, this ocean feel about it. And then even once you've left it, like, once you're home, you can kind of still feel the ocean pulling on you. Like, you still feel waves long after, like, you've been done playing in the waves, kind of thing. It was that kind of sensation, that kind of, like, ghost motion sense. It's not quite motion sickness. Yeah, it's like you've been experiencing a certain kind of movement constantly. Okay, you've been experiencing a certain kind of movement a lot for, like, the day, and then even when you're done experiencing that movement, like, your brain is still feeling it. And that's what I got with the chair, which was extremely weird. Okay. Oh yeah. Sorry if I jumped away from that real quick. But yeah, happy birthday. I hope that is to your liking. Oh, I got my hot cocoa here. Ooh, this is a double dark one. Okay. You're welcome again. Happy birthday. Yeah, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting to, like, still get, like, that ghost motion of movement in the chair. The same, again, the thing that came to mind, because that was my experience, is, like, you spend a lot of time in the ocean, and then you can still feel the ocean waves after you've left the ocean. It was a similar feeling, and I was like, huh, how strange. Oh no, that stinks. I didn't even realize they were rebooting Magic Knight Rayearth. Yeah, I'm trying to be careful with my foot because I was not being very careful enough, and I was basically hobbling whenever I tried to walk. And I was still trying to walk, so I'm like, I want to go on my walks. I usually walk in the morning before work. It's my outside time. Otherwise, I'm, like, on a computer all day. You know, at least I go out and catch some Pokemon and stuff like that in the morning. And I'm like, I can't do it now because of my stupid foot. I don't even know how I hurt it. It just started hurting. This is what happens when, like, you get old, I guess. Stuff will just hurt. It's like two tendons on, like, a certain spot that my doctor said this is what got hurt. So don't just it's gonna heal on its own. It'll get better. Just I'm not supposed to walk on it. But I still wanted to go to the convention, so that's what happened. No, but it was an anime-only character. Interesting. Was it done for, like, a filler reason? You know, the manga we've caught up to the manga, and the manga is still being worked on, so we gotta do something else for a little while. Okay, interesting. Adaptation is difficult. It's hard. Again, I've been watching Free Run because I haven't seen much anime lately, so I'm like, okay, I heard this is good. I'll be watching that. And I'm in a certain part right now, and I'm like, this kind of feels like it's veered off from the main plot. Is this like was this in the manga, or is this part of you know, is this a filler art kind of thing? I kind of more sensitive to that now. I'm wondering, but I don't know. I guess my problem is I don't collect that much manga anymore. I don't have time to read it. I've got a bookshelf with a bunch of manga on it, but didn't do much with it. I somehow have all of Death Note, which I read all of, but honestly, I didn't like the second half that much. So stuff kind of does go downhill once Elle dies. Oh well. That's true, that's true. It's always about execution. Like, if you have a good idea for, like, okay, this is a way we can do filler without, you know, changing that much, then, you know, you can get some really cool stuff out of that. Yep, one thing at a time. It takes me forever to get through stuff because, like, I can't put on something I haven't seen while I'm working. Like, I have to put on either, like, you know, something I've already heard, or it has to be, like, you know, a video essay, something I don't have to pay a lot of attention to, like, visually, but I can listen to a lot, or some podcast, like that whole joke about my video essays, I can't draw without my video essays, like, literally me. That is the truth. That's what I need. I can't put on, like, something that requires my attention while I'm working. Drawing, you have to have, like, a video or podcast thing you can, like, listen to, and then that's perfect for it. Unless I have to, like, think while I'm drawing, then I can only do music. So I'm like, okay, I can't do that while I'm working, so if I'm watching something new, pretty much the only time I usually set aside for it is, like, while I'm eating dinner. So that's, like, you know, 15-minute chunks of something at a time. I don't get very far very quick. Yeah, it's the kind of thing, like, if I was commuting, it might be good for that, but I work from home, I don't commute, so don't have as much time to do it. I do listen to audiobooks while I'm doing chores, and that's nice. I'm trying to get some more classics. So that's all I can get in terms of media. I'm usually behind on a bunch of media. I need to go see more movies in the theaters. I'm really bad about doing that, because I don't like going by myself, but I should. Like, I want to see Iron Lung. I want to see how that went. Even though I'm not much of a horror movie thing, I'm just like, okay. I've heard it's really interesting, and I think it's cool, you know, Mark did that, so I want to see Iron Lung. If you love Nova. Yeah, I've never actually seen Magic Knight Rayer. I know that, I'm sure it was something that one of my friends had, because when I was in college, and was with a bunch of friends, and we were watching a bunch of anime together, and one of them especially, she had just, like, tons of old anime. She was very well versed. And I'm pretty sure Magic Knight Rayearth was in her collection. No! The point is to go out and... Also, I don't have the wheelchair. My friend has it right now. It's just rented for a month. It was only like $55 for a month, so it's not that bad. Because I also want to go to Vancouver in a couple weeks, and maybe we'll do a Pokemon Go event during that time, depending on when it comes out. But yeah, I just have it rented for a month, because by then I should be better. It's getting better. It's healing. I can tell. It's not as bad as it was before, but I have to let that happen. My poor dumb foot. I'm just mad. I don't even know how it happened. I thought it was like something else at first, and then I'm like, man, whenever I try and walk, I hurt my foot. I'm wondering if it was a shoe. I've got like a pair of shoes, and maybe that ended up hurting my feet. I need to get new shoes anyway. Yeah, don't spoil anything. I'm aware of like the characters and the look of it because of all that, but yeah, I never actually sat down and watched Magic Knight Rayer. Oh, that's nice. It's nice when things are available for free. I don't subscribe to that many streaming services, pretty much just Netflix, so free option is always nice for me. I don't want to have like a bajillion, to pay for a bajillion options on stuff like that, even though there's like shows I want to watch that, you know, are not available on Netflix or whatever. It's really aggravating. Like I kind of want to see Murderbot Diaries because I read the books and I like the books. The books were really fun. So I'm curious how they adapted the books. And I haven't seen The Good Place. It might be fun. I should like I watch so many cartoons. I should really make sure and like expose myself to more live action stuff too. It's important to have variety. Options. I was sharing like a Disney Plus password, but I think it stopped working, and I don't remember where I wrote down the password for that. So I'm like, eh. Exactly. If you work, it's like if you work in like storytelling, which I do, then it is kind of like media nutrition. It's good as an artist to expose yourself to a lot of different kinds of stories, kinds of media. And that's probably something I need to work on, is expanding my palette. That's why I'm like, at least when I get audiobooks, I'm like, okay, let's try and get through some classics that I might have missed when I was in high school, or just want to check out. Let's try and read some books by different authors, stuff like that, even though a lot of times they're not available from my library, which stinks, but I'm trying. Like, I'm listening to Pride and Prejudice right now because I'm like, oh, I should read Pride and Prejudice. I haven't read that. I don't know if I like it that much. Maybe it's just not for me. And like, I know this is a very beloved book, but like, just the way it's written, I'm kind of like, huh, this is a lot of telling, not showing, which, that's probably the intention of it. And maybe I'm too arrow ace for Pride and Prejudice or something, I don't know. But I'm like, this isn't really interesting me. Also, I just realized I put all of that on the wrong layer. That's fine, we can move it here. Very easy. But I'll do my best to get through it. The nice thing about checking out a book from the library is that it doesn't cost you a money. You can just pick it out and then put it back when you're done. It doesn't cost you a money. What I probably would like more is I need more xenofiction, because I really enjoyed Watership Down. I was hooked on that one. But yeah, either way, good for an artist to expand their media palette. Again, I think about Mr. Toby Aspirational Fox and how just much he gushes about like the things he likes and how he puts that into his work. I think that's a good trait to have. And I wish I was better at that. I hope you don't mind all my jabbing while it's going to be a lot of debris today. As you can see, we got this panel coming up. Which, establishing shot. Yeah, visit your local library. Mine is like a 10-minute walk away. It's super close. And there might be more options there than you think as well. Because like before, I kind of ditched having a printer and stuff like that and getting ink because it was just too expensive and I didn't use it often enough to justify like buying new ink and a new printer. But sometimes like I need to print something out, so I would just be like, okay, I'm just gonna go over to Staples and do it. And I did that for a long time, even until I eventually realized, wait a minute, I can print stuff at the library, which is closer than Staples and also does not cost so much. It's like cheap as free. Why don't I just do that? So check out your local library. Oh yeah, that'll be fun. And there are so many neat TTRPGs out there, but yeah, the problem is always scheduling with your friends. Everybody's busy and got stuff to do when you're an adult. I still gotta meet up with a friend for dinner, and that has proven difficult because of my foot, because they're like, oh, do you want to go to this restaurant? And it's like, oh yeah, that sounds nice. And it's like just a 7-block walk from where I am, and I'm like, I can't do that. And I'm not supposed to walk that far. Curse you, accessibility, yeah. Like, normally I'd be like, yeah, sure, I can walk that. And now I can't. Accessibility definitely one of those things that you don't think about until you're like, oh, I have to think about this. And then when you start thinking about it, you're like, wait, this sucks. But at the same time, it's something we should all think about because, God willing, all of us will be disabled at some point in the future because that's just tends to be what happens when you age. So it's important to think about. At least at the convention, like, definitely the hardest part in being in a wheelchair was just kind of getting around. It's like bumping into people kind of thing. Like, oh, sorry, just accidentally tapping the person ahead of you. But, like, there was elevators and ramps getting in and out of the convention, so that part was fine. Mostly getting from there to parking because, like, most of the area around there is, like, cobblestone, which is, well, not cobblestone, but just, like, brick walk, which is, can be a little rough on a chair. Which kind of stinks also because I love, brick and cobblestone kind of stuff. It's very nice. They should have more areas that are just like, not for cars, more for walkings. Like whenever we visit the one spot we go to in Germany, we go to the Hauptstrasse, which is like the main shopping street. It's a lot of retail and stuff, restaurants and retail and etc. on that street. And that street is not for cars. It is for walking only. It's just a nice cobblestone street. It's like pretty long too. You can just walk down this long area and just like, buy stuff and shop and explore and all that. And it's like a car can go on there if you need like an emergency vehicle. Like you can basically got these posts that will go down, so if you need an emergency vehicle or something to go down there, it can. But you're not supposed to. How could I stream on a Monday? I was just saying because I went to a convention yesterday with my friends. And since it's a holiday, I'm drawing today. I wanted to do a thing with my friendos because I'm already too much of a homebody and never go out and do stuff. So I'm like, okay, let's go out and do stuff. And it was fun. Just got here. Yeah, no, I'm streaming today because yesterday I went to a convention with some friends. It was very fun. We had a good time and I got some cool stuff. And because it's a holiday, I'm just moving the stream to today. What's the holiday today? In Canada, it is Family Day. So, you all are my family now, because I don't have any family here. Just me. You're part of the Lynx family. It is Family Day. There's a couple holidays that Canada is like, we're just going to add a stat holiday to this month so that we have one. And Family Day is one of those. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm glad we're not doing President's Day. That's not here. It's Family Day. The president not good right now, so let's do families instead. I don't think we have any kind of Prime Minister Day or anything like that here. Yeah, I know, but people are obviously upset. That is true. Any excuse to give people, working a break, even though often on these holidays people are still working. Especially in retail. People are like, oh, I'm not working today. I'm going to go shop. And so it's not a day off for people working retail, but whatever days you can do that to give people off are good. Actually, like, do people even take, Labor Day or May Day off? There's people who's probably still working on Labor Day, right? That's like the one day it's supposed to be like, don't work. This is the day for laborers to not work. And I'm pretty sure people still work on that day, which, I mean, if you're essential, whatever, but like, I don't think retail should be open on Labor Day. I think maybe you should stay home. Kind of a Canadian version of, no, not really. I mean, the Canadian monarch is also the British one. Ugh. See, that's stupid. I don't like that. The whole point of Labor Day is that it's about the laborers, the workers. Unless you are in an essential job like, medical stuff. Have that day off. They take that way more seriously in Europe. Like, when it's like Christmas or whatever, like the 3 days around Christmas, including Christmas, like, nobody's open. you ain't gonna go and, go to the grocery store and pick stuff up. It's closed. Go home, you dummy. At least a lot more stuff is closed than, like, is in America, where a lot of stuff stays open. Yeah, I don't think there's any Monarch Day. There's no, like, Prime Minister Day or anything like that. I mean, we do have, like, Canada Day, which is basically Independence Day. Fireworks and everything. Yeah, exactly. You just gotta plan. That's what's expected. You gotta plan ahead. Be like, okay, this is not going to be open, so I'm going to get what I need before it closes. Yeah, I mean, at least you get that, but still, it's pretty bad. Like, not even like an Easter break thing? I guess the problem is Easter is always on Sunday. Well, again, stores are open on Sunday, often. Yeah. Just one day. I guess it depends on the store and stuff like that. Oh, is it already time for me to do my stretch? Goodness gracious. Time flies. It flies. We're coming up on the deadly establishing shot here. May 1st is officially called. Huh. I would agree with that, like, especially if you don't want the associations with, like, the bad parts of, communist bloc, but you still want to be like, hey, let's, honor workers and stuff like that, and that's probably smart. I mean, I've never even heard it as, like, that. Usually people just refer to it as May Day, although certainly people don't take that off over here in the West. It's acknowledged, but it's not a holiday. Yeah, Easter Sunday. I feel like, especially in the U.S. or whatever, they try to focus, stuff instead on May 5th, which is Cinco de Mayo, even though that's not really a U.S. holiday, it's more Mexican, but they were like, well, we can sell stuff on the 5th, like, we can sell alcohol and Mexican food and whatever on the 5th, so we'll focus on that rather than May Day, where not really for selling stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like at least in Europe, like, if stuff is open Christmas or whatever, it's not open for very long. And it's only big things. Like, most stores will just close for like 3 days. Mexican American for weird reasons, yeah. Huh, interesting. Well, yes, of course you do. That's Texas. Texas, California are kind of in the same boat on that, at least SoCal. Because there's a lot of Mexican folks. And like up here, there's a lot of Chinese folks in terms of immigration, so I see more Chinese holidays being recognized, like Mid-Autumn Festival. Hello, thank you for coming. I'm glad folks are here on Monday, because I was gone yesterday. Yeah, it was a really fun time. We all got along well. I basically hung out while some friends got autographs from folks that were there. And then we went around the artist alley and I got a bunch of stuff. Said hi to a few people I recognize. And I don't know if you saw my picture on Blue Sky. I forgot to include one of the things I got because I put it on my keychain already. I got a keychain from a friend that's like the girl with the pearl earring painting, but it's Squidward. It's really good. So I got one. I forgot to include that in my photo of stuff I got. But I gotta add my stickers and put up my pins and all that goodness. I didn't take a picture of Alfie's with my little dragon plush I got because it would be cute with dragon and dragon. Alright, I will be right back for one more stretch and stuff like that. Alright, I return. Yeah, I love Artist Alley. Whenever I go through an Artist Alley, I always kind of miss like selling in them. I haven't done that since I moved here, so it's been like 10 years. I used to do it when I was much younger. Ooh. They're always fun, but they're also like always so frantic. Like you're pretty much like. I don't know, most artists are very, quiet, introverted kind of stuff. But when you're, like, at a convention, you have to kind of put on the persona of, like, a salesman kind of thing and just, like, be way more attentive to people and be more chatty and stuff like that. So, it's fun, but it's also, like, kind of drains your social battery because you're just on for the whole time. Sheer crowd size. Oh my goodness. I've never been to MagFest. That sounds fun. Definitely wore my mask because there's crowds. I don't want to get sick again. But yeah, apparently the con fill up pretty fast over here too. Like what's the size at MagFest nowadays? Because I know that's gotten just only more popular over the years. That's not the I could agree. I'm suddenly thinking of the whole mess with what's his face, that terrible voice actor. Woo. Start of May. Oh, nice. Ugh. Oh, old as the flag. Well, that's nice. You kind of got like a confluence of holidays there around May, so you can, take all those days off together. I like it when that happens. We should have more of those. Where it's like, let's group our holidays together for extra holiday. The sales floor took forever. Oh, I imagine so. Yeah, cons can be expensive. I definitely spent a bunch because I like collecting stickers. I got a sticker book I'm trying to fill out, and I like collecting pins because I started a pin board, and I'm like, oh, I really like collecting like these little just art pieces that I find fun that will last a while. So I've just I gotta get this sticker, I gotta get this pin, I gotta get this blah blah blah, and just collecting a bunch of them, and then by the time it's done, it's like, I spent like $200 on that, maybe? Oh well, I'd rather spend money on, like, people's art they make than more corporate stuff. Support the fellow artist. It does make me miss doing Artist Alley, though. I did pretty okay at those, which is kind of funny because, like, definitely back in the day, I didn't have really nice things. Like, I had some stickers and I had, like, buttons. I didn't have any enamel pins. Those weren't as popular back then. I had some keychains, I guess, but, like, they weren't, I don't think they were as nice as the stuff people make now. And still, usually I turned a profit. Yeah, you got a lot of goodies. And always good to support your local comic store, too. Going through an Artist Alley always makes me wish I would... those are the times when I wish I had, like, way more wealth, because then I'm like, oh man, I could buy all this and this and this and this and stuff. Also, something I kind of wish I could do is, like, I don't know, just pick one wall in my place and, like, turn it into, like, a giant corkboard kind of thing. And then I can put, grab a bunch of, like, postcards and prints and stuff from artists and just, like, pin them on a corkboard wall. Because that's that feels a little better than, like, trying to get everything framed. Because, good grief, framing stuff is so expensive. But I have all this, like, print art I've gotten over the years, and I can't, like, display it anywhere. Because, like, it's not super practical to frame it, but at the same time, just put up a poster and it starts to kind of degrade, sort of thing. But, like, I don't know, some kind of, like, corkboard wall where it's like I can put it up properly and rearrange stuff a lot easier. I think that would be neat. I'm not dead. As I said, I went to a convention yesterday on Sunday with some friends, and I had a really good time. But I was there all day, so I was not streaming. So I moved the stream to Monday because it's a holiday today. If you weren't there on Friday for the games Outer Tail stream, I mentioned it there. I mentioned, hey, I'm going to go to a convention on Sunday. I'm moving the art stream to Sunday. Or Monday. I can't talk. Yeah, I love seeing all the cosplays. Oh my goodness. There were a bunch of Deltarunes at the convention. There was, I saw a bunch of Chris's, a bunch of Rouse's, some Noel's. Supposedly there was a Susie there, but I didn't see her. There was a Roaring Knight. We saw a Roaring Knight, also in a wheelchair, funny enough. And a bunch of Tennas. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. But definitely those I saw. We saw some Chris's and Rouse's. A lot of those. It'd be fun to cosplay Susie sometime. I only cosplayed a really long time ago once, and it was Lane from Serial Experiments Lane. I haven't done it since. Hello, hello. Thank you for coming. Yeah, cosplaying is really fun. It's really fun seeing, like, everybody's stuff. Everybody's so talented and cute. A couple friends in my group cosplay. One of my friends cosplayed as Toriel. And got compliments from peoples. Well, probably a lot more Deltarune than there were Undertale cosplayers, but there were a few. There was an AU Sans. I saw, I can't believe I recognized this. I saw Fresh Sans there. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Fresh Sans. How do I know that? But yeah, I had a really good time. Again, I got to hang out with friends, which was really fun. See all the cool cosplayers. I bought a bunch of fine little art pieces I got to put up. And yeah, it was a really good time. And I'm going to do it again in a few weeks for Vancouver. Oh yeah, Tenna's gotten super popular. We saw a couple of Tennas. Same with the fan art. Tenna showed up a lot in the fan art. It's kind of crazy. I think he's kind of eclipsed Spamton, which is kind of funny if you think about it. Saw Killer at MagFest. Oh, that's funny. I wonder what the biggest, like, cosplay gathering of, like, AU Sanses is there. Because I'm sure people have done, like, a bunch of different AU Sanses with how popular the Greater Sansverse is. So there's got to be, like, a picture somewhere of, like, I don't know, some huge Undertale AU meetup, and it's just, like, all a bunch of, like, Sanses. Undertale Yellow Clover. That's cool. That's cute. I figured that Undertale Yellow Clover is probably more likely than Deltarune Clover, just because I imagine that Deltarune Clover is going to be a difficult one to pull off. Not impossible, but more difficult than Undertale Yellow Clover. With their AU corn. Both at once. I don't know if people would understand what was happening there. I guess that would be Deltarune Clover dressed as a cowboy? Maybe? I don't know. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm like, did I even see any, like, Sans or Papyruses there? And I don't recall. There was an Undyne. It was specifically Undertale Undyne, because she had the eye patch. So there was Undyne, and then again, my friend went as Toriel. But mostly there was Chris's and Ralsei's. Also, good grief, Ralsei really is popular for the merch. One of the things I got a Susie and Noelle pin. And it's because I was looking at some of the other pins, and like Ralsei was sold out and Chris was sold out. I'm like, no, Ralsei, no! Yay, Chris shirt. Excellent. Is it like the official, like, important human shirt, or just like a shirt with Chris on it? I did get the Tenna, like, Chapter 3 TV time shirt from Fangamer for Christmas. Adding to my Deltarune Undertale shirt collection. Nice. I honestly really do like Fangamer's merch. They put out good stuff, so I'm always like, oh, I want that, and that. But when are the pins and everything going to become available? I want my Chapter 3 pins to include in the pin set, and Chapter 4 for that matter. Oh, is the Tumblr shipping this? It was Valentine's. So they were just running a little event where they were, like, posting all the most popular ships for Valentine's throughout the week. They're like, here's our 100 most popular ships on Tumblr for Valentine's Day. So it was a little Tumblr event. Happy One's wearing a cowboy hat and the hothead is wearing a pink wig. Teehee. Kingdom Hearts. Are there any Kingdom Hearts ones? I did see a Organization Roxas with the black coat and Oathkeeper in Oblivion. A lot of good cosplays. People be so dang cute and creative. Yeah. If I ever win the lottery, there will be signs. I'll be honest, if I ever won the lottery, the first thing I would buy is a house. the millennial dream. Owning your own house. I don't buy tickets either, though, so that ain't happening anytime soon. I think my mom got a little into the craze, because she doesn't usually buy tickets either, but like back in around Christmas time when it was at like 1.2 billion or something like that, an insane amount, she gave in and bought some tickets, and of course we didn't win. And the animator's dream, have your own house, hooray! Oh, it's weird, Tumblr users have never gotten mad about shipping before. What an unusual thing to have happen. Not even Tumblr. People have been mad about shipping since, like, shipping existed. That ain't unique to Tumblr. That is a staple of fandom. You're gonna get mad about ships. That's just the reality of it. I know, I could put a little art studio, and I could have somebody like design some furniture that was perfectly suited for me to, you know, sit at it and not hurt my body and stuff. I could, you know, commission a really cool climbing thing for Alfie's, even though she never goes outside, but it would still be there. Exactly. You have to achieve fandom enlightenment. Be like, okay, that's none of my business. And heck, even if, like, you do have a ship where you're like, oh man, I can't stand that ship. That ship drives me crazy. You have to understand the art of being like, let's get into the group chat with my friends and complain about the ship there, rather than out in the open where people who like it can see it. That is the true art. You have to be. It's like, it's okay to be a hater, but you have to be a hater in its proper place. With you know, a small group of people who get you, who are on your brain wavelength, and then you can just, you know, yap about, rah, like, this makes me mad in that space. Get your catharsis out without, you know, just making everybody else's lives more miserable. Like, it's fine to have ships that bug you. I got ships that bug me too. But that's the trick of it. You find yourself a group of people who are on your wavelength, and you get a little group chat going, and then you can scream about it in the group chat. That is the trick. Because if you go into other people's tags and, you know, whine about it there and stuff, then that's just going to annoy people. You ain't going to convince anybody away from that. You're just, you know, being annoying. Exactly. And if the ship is really bad and you're like, I cannot stand to see this, you block the tag. And you're like, well, I'm going to get the heck out of here. We have the tools now. We can curate our experience. Or you can have it as private thoughts too. But again, if it's thoughts that you're like, I gotta say something here, I gotta get it private. You either, you gotta block the stuff you don't like, and then just yap to friends who you know are like-minded, and you know you can bounce off each other there. That's how it gotta be. And sometimes people are wrong on the internet. In fact, they often are wrong on the internet, but it's not your job to correct them on the internet. Sometimes true wisdom is like, okay, someone is wrong on the internet, and I just have to deal with that and move on with my life, because I ain't got time to worry about that. We got other things to do. And don't forget, to somebody else, you are the person who is wrong on the internet. I know they're wrong on the internet, but what if you are wrong on the internet? Dun dun dun. Yep. Now, of course, the correct answer is like, no, but I'm always right on the internet. The same way, like, when you're driving, you're like, everybody going faster than me is, you know, a speed demon, and everybody too slow is an idiot. The internet's often the same way. I'll just berate myself then. Look, if I want my opinion, I'll beat it out of me. Exactly. That helps sometimes. Sometimes it helps to just like, I'm going to write this all down in an email, and it's angry, and then when you're done, you're like, okay, I wrote it. Now I can delete it. Okay, fine. Exactly. You are the traffic. To somebody else, you are the idiots who's going too slow, or the dum-dum who's going too fast. It's impossible to know, because all you can know is your own experience, which is kind of terrifying. But then again, there always are people that will have similar enough experiences to you that you can talk to them about it and they will agree. And it's like, ah, thank goodness, it's not just me. And then you move on with your life and focus on the stuff that you like. Because that is always something that needs more attention, is being like, hey, I like this. Again, that's how Toby is smart. He doesn't focus, I'm sure there's like stuff that he really does not like that just, grinds his gears. He just doesn't not talk about it. He only talks about the stuff that he enjoys and tries to promote. That's smart. And that's true. Some people are getting paid to be idiots on TV. Some people are getting paid to be idiots in, like, government and stuff like that. That's the really galling one. You just have to deal with it, because unfortunately that's been true since the beginning of time. And will be true forever. Like last, the grift is profitable. That's one thing I will never understand. I don't understand people that get into grifting. Like, that sounds like a miserable way to make a living. Oh, I would hate that so much. I'm so glad that, like, I make cartoons for a living. Oh my goodness. If I had to grift for a living, I would be miserable. I don't even know if I could make the money worth it. I would just be having an awful time all the time. So I don't understand that at all. I'm like, is the money you're making from the grift really worth it? The Lynx grifted. No! That's my evil twin. And my evil AU. Exactly. In the Mirrorverse, I'm Lynx grifting, and I love grifting, and it's the best. Ooh, tea and coffee. I do have my hot cocoa. I might need to get my orange juice as well. I'm trying to switch up my breakfast stuff. I have been doing breakfast muffins. I'm like, maybe I have to make the muffins every week. Maybe I can switch to, like, yogurt and granola and stuff like that. So maybe that'll be better for my tummy. I don't know. Pay $10 to read this next chapter of Eldritchrune. Ooh. There's probably somebody out there who's like, why aren't you doing that? I'm like, that would suck. Want to see my expensive commissions? No. Yeah, Toby be smart. So I know he definitely was way more active in online fandoms, especially around, Starman.net days and Homestuck. And I think one of the most telling things in that thing is like, yeah, and I really appreciate Homestuck. It taught me so much about, how, a creator should interact with its fandom. And I'm like, oh, did it now? Ooh. Well then. I'm glad a lesson was learned here. So yeah, he lucked out. That could have gone way worse. The moral of the skybox is give me more money. No. I mean, I do want more money, but that's not the moral. That's the thing, I feel like if I pulled a grift, I would just be miserable. I'm so bad at lying. You gotta lie in order to grift, and I'd suck at that. Oh no. Oh. Susie would be like, I like to eat ice. Yum, 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 yum. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Crunch, crunch. Crunchy. Yeah, I'm a bad liar. I would make a terrible grifter. That really is a skill. It's not a skill I have. Yeah, I don't mind, like, people getting, a good amount of money for, like, sports or entertainment kind of stuff, because, like, that's a skill. I do think that, like, people doing regular jobs, like, childcare and healthcare and, teaching and whatever should absolutely be paid more. But I don't think, like, people, being good at a sport or entertainment is taken away from that. If you work for your money, then, like, that's skill, and that takes work. I'm not terribly fond of people who are like, the work is to, like, steal other people's money. I'm not fond of that. To convince them to give it up to you. That's the thing. I also suck at Among Us. I suck so bad at Among Us. Did I tell you about the story where I was playing Among Us and I was the good grief, I can't even remember the name for it now. I was the bad guy in Among Us. And the imposter. I was the imposter in Among Us. And I was like, oh shoot, okay, I'm not very good at this. I'm usually just hoping I'll be a crew member. I'll try and go around and kill some people. And I was doing a thing where I vented in front of somebody and they saw me do it. And instead of doing the sensible thing and like killing them and then coming up with an excuse for like, oh no, I found them this way or whatever, like I just kind of ran into a corner and jumped around because I didn't know what else to do. And that didn't work out well for me. So please don't ask me to play Among Us unless we're doing like, you know, hide and seek version where everybody knows who the imposter is and it's just like a kind of game of tag. Like I can do that. It's the lying part that I suck at. Just watching Chris and Noelle. Why is she trapped inside her own guitar? Free her. Oh, that's pretty funny. What do you mean the host kicked you? That you were playing the game correctly. You did it. Among Us, but everyone sucks at lying. Me and my friends. Oh, there you go. See? That's how you do it. Dark world inside the guitar. Guitar world. That's the problem. You gotta speak up, I guess. You gotta project confidence. Your ideal? Yeah, that is my ideal. Oh, I have tasks to do. Hooray! I hope I don't die while doing them, but I'm gonna do my tasks. Again, my preferred version of Among Us was hide and seek, where we know who the bad guy is, we know who the imposter is, just like it's a game of tag. The only inhabitants are rabbits. That'd be a very boring dark world. Also, why is it just in the guitar? Like, just guitar music all the time? Free her! Free my girl! She did all that shit, but you can still free her! I do hope we get to actually save Des. Like, I think it could go either way, but I want it to go the way where we save her. The boss at the toilet final attack where, you know, it just explodes out all these bath bombs and you gotta dodge all of them. Every bath bomb Chris has flushed down the toilet. It all comes back to get you, like Chrono Trigger or something. You know, it's kind of weird how much, like, toilets come up and talking about Deltarune. I blame the giant toilet that Timmy accidentally sprited. Since then, lots of toilet talk. Every day a cursed toilet theory. I still don't quite understand why that is. It's like, okay, yeah, I agree that there's going to be like a water theme going on with the roaring. I just think it's going to be rain, not necessarily like the sewers flooding. I mean, maybe a little bit of that, like maybe the lake will flood, but the rain seems like an important part. We've had a lot of talk about rain. Enter a dark world through a toilet. The flushed away dark world. Mario. Let's make it even weirder. What have we made it weirder? Fan-made secret box. Well, this part of the church is still standing, not the rest. Deltarune's true purpose is to show the importance of good plumbing. Good plumbing and heating can save your town from disaster. You cleaned out your cistern today or whatever? I don't know. I don't know plumbing. That's not my area of expertise. Yeah, it does seem to come up a lot. It's very odd. There's no toilets here in Eldritchrune though, because this is medieval times. We hadn't invented plumbing yet. And plumbing is something none of us are even remotely good at. Why did we bring it up? Of all the fun gang, who is the worst at plumbing? And why is it Chris? Oh, that was the message all along. No, not about escapism. It's like, don't flush bath bombs down the toilet. Don't destroy your town with Orbeez, Chris. Don't do it. Chris is like, but I thought it'd be funny. They're coming out of the pipes. What was that whole part? That was just such a weird... I like how even Tenna's like, what was that, by the way? Anyways. Maybe Chris flushed Ice-E bat-flavored bath bombs down the toilet, and that's what was happening. That's why they're coming out of the pipes. They're crawling out of the pipes. Is it? Is it a reference to a Mario Brothers ad? I guess that might explain it, because, like, without context, it's such a weird, ominous thing. Yeah, like, if it could be a reference to, like, an old ad, that would be neat, because otherwise it's like, what does this mean? Ad or arcade flyer for, like old school Mario, like, before even, like, Super Mario Brothers, where like they're just the turtles are coming out of the pipes and you gotta bounce on them. They're crawling out of the pipes. That would make me feel a little bit better if this was like some kind of like Mario Brothers reference, because otherwise, like, that part has always been like, what are you talking about? What does that mean? It's so weird. Alright, as soon as I do this, it's gonna be time for another break. I knew this would be the part that took forever. Look at this. Ah! I'm drawing a Where's Waldo over here. Tiny little details. Alright, time for a stretch break. Yeah, that is true. Tenna is having a nervous breakdown. What was that about? You gotta wonder, like, okay, you know Tenna made the deal with Chris about keeping everybody busy until the night showed up. When did this happen? Did this happen like this happened before chapter 2, maybe? Like Chris sat down with some pie and then just like talked to the TV like for an hour or so about the plan? Is that when that happened, or did that happen like after chapter 2? Like, okay, we're gonna do it this way. Please actually sneak Waldo in. I don't know, maybe I could. Although right now most people are not present, they're missing. We had a bunch of Where's Waldo books when I was young. I was not good at finding Waldo. Well, that was another thing at the convention. There's always people that, like, you know, dress up as Waldo, and there are, like, 3 Waldos together. You gotta wonder, like, people who dress up as Waldo, like, how many people, like, if they keep a tally of how many people are like, we found him, you know. So you can run up the score of how many people comment on the fact that they found him. Deltarune's plot is wholly confusing. Whoa! I don't think it's all that confusing so far. I think the track we're on right now actually makes pretty good sense. We're missing some important information, but I'm sure we will get it in the future. We do know the story's already written, so I don't think much on that thing is going to change. Slight exaggeration. I know, I'm just being silly. I'm being a Shirley Berry. I wonder how many people are going to get to the end and be like, no, that was confusing. I don't think there'll be a lot, but I'm sure there'll be some people that will be confused just because it was, like, not the plot they were expecting. Exacerbation? Yeah. That means to make worse, to greaten the make the problem worse, basically. To exacerbate. That is a word. I wouldn't say it's a word that's commonly used. I don't know why predictive test was going to do that, but yes, it basically means to make something worse. To increase the size of the problem. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Who was making the problem worse? Okay, I don't think I'm going to finish the chocolate. I will be right back with one more stretch and orange juice non-stop. My thing's still picking up the music. I might need to turn up the sensitivity on that. A little more. Okay, that's better. Alrighty, I have returned. As we move on. I'm kind of glad that I'm doing this particular section on stream, because if I was not doing so, I think it would kind of drive me a little nuts. It's good to distract myself from how much time is being spent on one panel. But hopefully I can reuse it a couple places at least. But you gotta have your establishing panel. Well, that's kind of cute. Lots of cuteness. I am excited for whenever we finally see Azrael. I want to see what he looks like. How do you look when you are a normal adult and was allowed to grow up? And yeah, I'm not. I've seen people like having with white hair or blonde hair, you know, because Asgore got the blonde hair and stuff like that. I do find it interesting how often like Deltarune characters have like the females without hair and the males with hair, when usually it's the opposite. It's like, oh, the bog standard, you know, creature is just the creature, you know, that's anthropomorphized, and then we put hair on it to let you know it's female. It's kind of nice to have the reverse, where like actually the males have hair often, and sometimes even more than female characters. I guess either way that does not apply to Sans and Papyrus, since they do not have hair. But like I'm glad to say they didn't put hair on Alfie's. They do have combs. That is always interesting. I'm like, why do you have a comb, Sans? What do you use that for, aside from just, you know, trying to look cool? Come home with the boy band hair. No, he probably had the boy band hair in high school, and now in college he's like, oh, that was his embarrassing haircut thing. He had the boy band hair for the school picture with the embarrassing haircut. He's like, no, Mom, I gotta have my hair look cool. For the picture, I'm gonna cut it myself. And then regret. Too late to change it. Yeah, I understand that too. It seems like it would make sense for him to have the blonde hair, but I'd kind of like it if he didn't. But I would not be surprised if that's what we got. I'd be like, oh, okay, that's logical. But I kind of feel you in that. Be a little nice if he didn't have the blonde hair, but we'll find out. I'm sure either way it'll be interesting, as long as it's appropriate for the character. Has a man bun with a mullet. So much speculation on what he's gonna be like. He seems like he was a genuinely like decent guy. And kind of a bit of a dork. Like, I don't really want, like, you know, like, I don't know how I describe it. Like, obnoxious know-it-all. Kind of Azrael. He does seem to be, like, a really sweet guy. College does change people, but I honestly think him getting outside of like hometown and meeting a wider variety of people would only do him good. It wouldn't mess him up. Hot versus chopped Azrael. Like typically speaking, like if you've lived in a very small, you know, tight-knit, kind of conservative town your whole life, actually getting out and seeing the world and seeing the wider variety of people out there tends to do you good. Again, I do still want to see a thing where basically he's already found a new partner. Like, I'm totally on it. Like, yeah, he was dating Des and all that stuff, but I just think it would be really deeply interesting if, like, he has moved on and everybody else has not. And they have to deal with that. Yeah, bonus points if it's a human. That will really get Chris being like, and like, I don't even necessarily want it to be like Kara or Frisk or whatever. Just like another human. That would really I think that might freak out Chris a bit. In fact, I kind of don't. If he was dating another human, then I don't want it to be Frisk or Chris, because considering the comparisons to be made between between them and Chris, it gets a little weird. Finally, Chisk. Do you know our guys' our religion is a doomsday cult? No one else practices it. They're all like, His name is Yuri to complete the acronym. Big brain, Asriel's dating grown-up Nest, yes. It all comes together. This was the Earthbound sequel you never saw coming. I also still secretly want, I know this is probably not the case, but I secretly want the idea of, like, all humans are non-binary, just kind of genderless, and, like, it's mostly monsters that are into, like, gender and stuff like that, and humans are like, what is this? Monsters, like, male and female? I don't get it. Lucky Clover becomes real. Dun dun dun. People would not see that coming. Interesting ship name for Flowey there. Because I don't know how lucky you'd be. That would be fascinating. Thank you, Shigesato Itoi. Based indeed. Yeah, hasn't he pretty much said, like, hey, you know, I'm probably never going to make Earthbound 4. That's up to you guys now. He's the Garrison in this scenario. Go forth. Adapt. They own individual game rights, not the franchise? That's fascinating. Usually Nintendo is pretty tight about that. So somebody over on that team had some foresight then if they didn't let Nintendo have the rights to the series, just the individual games. That makes sense. The Mother series never released outside of the Nintendo consoles though, has it? At least not officially. Yeah, that guy's done like everything, hasn't he? I need like a biography or something of him, and like, because every time I hear it's like, oh, by the way, he also did like this crazy thing, and I'm like, holy crap! Like, he was super involved in like labor union stuff. He was like a poet. Yeah, Renaissance man for sure. They own that aspect of the series. Okay. So he's not even known for Mother much. What is he most known for in Japan? If it's not the Mother series. That's fascinating. I know. It ain't an easy thing to be a Renaissance person. That requires I don't know, a certain kind of attitude, I think, that is kind of rare to find. You really got to be willing to just try so many different things and just pursue them. Promotion tour looking for rumored buried gold. Copyright slogans, Yvonne's Totoro? I thought he was well known for like political organizing or something like that. Again, didn't he do some like labor union thing? Yeah, that is the trick, isn't it? It's not just about trying things, it's finishing things. Now, I think trying things is already invaluable. Like that is a good skill to have, is trying new things. That I wish I was better at that. I'm very stuck in my ways in terms of like trying stuff. Probably the autism there. But like finishing a lot of things, that's the real difficulty of it. That's the trick. So yeah, the fact that he like did all that stuff and like finished, completed projects there, that's what's crazy difficult. It's cool. It is certainly cool and good to try a lot of things, but to finish a lot of different things, that's what makes you a Renaissance man. Yeah, exactly. And that's basically the true challenge of any art, is that it is easy. It is good. It is certainly good, but it is also easy to start a lot of things, to try a lot of things. What is difficult is finishing something. If you can finish something, and if you can enjoy doing it from start to finish, then you are in good hands. You're doing things right. Especially in terms of like art. It's hard to finish things. As is evidenced by me spending like an hour and a half drawing this one panel's backgrounds. Which most people are going to glance at for like 2 seconds because they're busy reading and they're not going to spend any time on it. But that's the reality of it. You can't dwell too much on that, otherwise you'll go crazy. You're like, nope, I have to make this complicated background in order to establish this particular scene, so I'm gonna do it. It'll go by in a flash. And people will not think about it. Which probably means I did my job. I gotta do some other background work for some other things, actually, when I think about it. I gotta find some time for that. That's true. That's a nice way of looking at it. If you add up the time that a lot of different people spend looking at something, then it turns out that's a lot of hours. And that's a nice feeling. Especially when you're an artist, like the thing you want is you want people to look at your stuff. Yeah, exactly. With your writing. You want people to see your writing and talk about it, think about it. It's like a tough thing because of just like, I don't know, I was thinking about this lately in terms of like that half-human Susie theory. I'm like, okay, there's people that like really don't like it. Like they just don't like it at all. As a theory. But like, I usually hear people say that they like growing pains. Even though that's basically along the same lines. And I think at this point, growing pains is like less correct than theory itself. So I'm like, okay, why do people like this version of it, but they don't like theory stuff on it? And I think there's stuff in there about basically a narrative versus trying to do like a scientific proof or anything like that. Basically, people are a lot more forgiving of like holes in an idea if you are communicating an idea through a narrative. But at the same time, that's also, people pay more attention to like YouTube videos than they do fan fiction. And I mean, I don't think it's the transformation fetish. I don't think people are, well, there's that many people into that. Well, there probably is, but I don't think that's why people like it. That's probably why some people like it, but I don't think that's why most people like it. And even then, like, I don't think the transformation part is the one thing I don't think is actually like applicable anymore to like the theory. I don't think that's actually happening in canon. But I mean more in terms of like I think people are more forgiving of a narrative than they are of like trying to solve a puzzle, like a scientific proof or anything like that. Like, as long as you get a feeling across, then that's what's most important. Rather than, you know, oh, I'm going to prove this and there's no holes in it. Like, people will forgive holes in something if you're getting a certain feeling across. But at the same time, the reason why everybody, like, puts stuff into YouTube videos instead of, like, fan fiction or fan art is because that's what everybody pays attention to. Everybody pays attention to YouTube. And I'm super guilty of this as well. Like, I'm not exempt, but I think that's the reasoning why that is the way it is. Primarily driven by content quantity and spread. Yeah, I can see that. I can certainly see that. Basically, if you have somebody that's like really pumping out a lot of you know, stories or art or whatever, or music and stuff for a certain ship, then people are going to pick up on that more and be like, oh, I like this idea, because again, they're communicating the feelings that they want to do it. And then that just picks up and kind of spreads. Was carrying Curdly. Ah. Sometimes, especially in a fan, it does come down to just like the one brave warrior who's just, you know, carrying the ship, carrying the character, carrying the idea. Oh yeah, Gumi, Lloyd, and Krizel, definitely. You got, you know, like one person who's like, they get it. They understand like how best to express this ship or this character or this idea. And then everybody else latches onto that. They're like, oh, hell yeah, that rocks, kind of thing. And sometimes it's a difficult thing for, like, other people to replicate. So the more people you have, like, who can, you know, really explore an interesting idea or a ship or whatever, the better in shape you are. But oftentimes it does come down to one person who's just, like, who gets it and is really good at communicating that idea. Yeah, Crazy and Suzelle, lighthearted fluff, Krizel, Renaissance art. I think it's probably because, like, there's so much, like, extra potential in Krizel once you attach, like, Snowgrave to it. Because I know a lot of Gumi Lloyd stuff also focuses on, like, weird root stuff. That's where it gets, you know, really juicy and thought-provoking. But that's also, like, inherently tragic. It feels more difficult to do, like, I think Krizel fluff without acknowledging the fact that, like, hey, something bad happened here between these two. We gotta talk about it. Possessed by an amoral spirit. Oh my goodness. And she already found out that the Darkners are objects, aren't real, so how's she going to react to that with the player? Oh, yeah. I mean, heck, just talking about, like, the theory that, you know, the girl is supposed to kill the cage kind of thing, and if Susie was put there to avoid, you know, Noelle having to do that, then, oh no, what if we swing it back around to Noelle having to do that anyway? Double tragedy! Double tragedies all the way across the sky. No point of return. Yeah, I want them to rekindle that too, and it seems like, you know, that is one of the things that's kind of bringing Chris back from the self-destructive spirals, that they're like, oh, I like reconnecting with Noelle. I want to be friends with her again. Like they have distanced themselves from her because of the death stuff, but it's like, oh, actually, you know, I like being friends with her. The problem is, like, the prophecy has Susie as the girl. Now, it might have been, like, I think that Noelle might have originally intended for that role, but I don't think Susie is unqualified for that role. I think she and Noelle are equally qualified to be the girl, and because she was in the place to be the girl, she is, and she always has been. Yeah, I can understand that. Like, I feel like there's often this, like, undercurrent of, oh, Susie will be so upset, you know, if she was not picked as the hero kind of thing. But again, this is not a universe where being a hero is a good thing. It is a burden. I feel like it would kind of lose, like, the impact of the whole scene at the end of chapter 4, where, you know, Susie is just kind of horrified by the final tragedy and, you know, determined to break it. If it's like, well, you never had to worry about this to begin with. This was somebody else's problem. Yeah. Yeah, so it's basically a kind of recursive thing. Where it's, yeah, anyone that kind of fits the qualifications of the girl could be the girl. But because Susie was at the right place and time to be the girl, she is, and she always has been. Like, it would still be a tragic loss, but I don't know. I still feel like that would be weakened if it was like, this was never actually your problem to begin with. It's worse because it is her problem. Yeah, they would want to protect Noelle regardless. I am currently on the team. Chris is the one slated to die. Mostly because they are kind of acting like it. They are kind of acting like they are expecting to die. Like, they went into this with that expectation. And it's only now as they're going through, like, all this stuff with their friends, they're like, oh wait, maybe I don't actually want to do that. Uh-oh. But I promised. Which will surely end well. Surely. Especially kind of, like, puts into perspective, like, all the stuff before they even got to the Dark Worlds, where Susie is literally, like, threatening Chris with terrible death, and Chris just, like, is unbothered by it completely. It's like, well, why are they unbothered by this? Well, it's because, like, yeah, this is going to happen. I am anticipating this anyway. It does not bother me. I know this is the end point. Susie will be extremely normal about this. Yeah, maybe it's still coming. Maybe it is still coming where she'll apologize to Chris for that happening later. Maybe it'll be a chapter 5 thing. That would be nice. Because she should apologize to them for that. Like, it might be understandable why she reacted that way with them, especially if, like, the half-human stuff is real. But she still needs to be like, hey, that was shitty of me. I should have not have done that. Yeah. Yeah, there is start of chapter 1. Even there, again, the first thing she does, which is why I kind of think, oh man, might be referencing something that's going to happen in the future. The first thing she does when we see her with Chris is basically threaten to kill them. I suppose I should probably take my break now. I think time flew by. Like, the first thing she does is threaten to kill them. So even if you miss the blog post, gotta apologize for that. I don't really understand people that are like, the blog post isn't real. That's out of character. I'm like, no, it's really not. Like, sorry it makes the characters you like look bad, but it does make sense in the context of what we know so far. Yeah, they did. Well, that's another thing. They thought it was funny. Why would they react to that and think like, oh, this is funny? There is something going on there where Chris is unbothered about Susie threatening them, probably because they know more about how things are supposed to go than they're letting on. Because otherwise, yeah, why would they be so unbothered by this? Noelle's literally asking, like, why don't they tell their parents? Why don't they tell the teacher about it? Susie is only bullying them. Time to launch. Launch is good. I will be getting launched later, but we got more work to do on the panel of doom. Doom for all involved. The doom. It always bothered me, especially with the blog posts that people are like, ew, like, Noelle's so bad for not interfering. And I'm like, dude, so Susie is the one that's actually threatening people. How many panels of doom are there in the ending? Probably quite a few. This is one of them just because, again, the insane background. But I'm trying to think of, like, okay, how many more panels will we have with a lot of, like, insane establishing shots? I'm like, probably not that many. Like, the last, like, 5 or 6 parts all take place in the same location. So, for those, I'm really going to try and reuse as much stuff as I can. Steps in for ultimate fisticuffs. I mean, that'd be cool to see a Bollywood-style battle. Dance-off. I think the Susie would just be so shocked like that, she would just immediately stop. Like, you're gonna fight me? Ah! She's trying to show off how big tough she is. Ooh. Stretchies. I'm glad Noelle did not interfere in that situation, because if she had, I guarantee you things would have been worse. I know, good grief. Oh yeah, if Noelle, like, entered, then Susie would just, like, immediately stop. Because she does not want people seeing this. She waits till everybody else leaves. So if Noelle was there, she'd be like, whoop, and just zoop right out. Alright, be right back for one more stretch and stuff. Sorry about that. It took a little longer than I expected. We're back at it. Such an act alone would create Grizel. Yeah, well, one of the things that I think is most likely for the, like, you know, what did Chris say to Noelle, or not Noelle, what did Chris say to Susie at, like, that scene to get her to leave? I think one of the most likely things they could have said is, like, Noelle's here, or Noelle is watching, because that is something that would immediately get her to, you know, drop everything and run out. We've heard of the Lord of the Flies. Oh no, who was the Simon and who was the piggy, I guess? Who got the conch? That's one of the books my mom teaches. Lord of the Flies. I feel like that's often a deeply misunderstood book, but oh well. Probably often not taught correctly, because a lot of people are probably like, this is how human nature is, and it's like, no, that's not what the book is actually saying. The point of the book is not, people will revert to be horrible savages as soon as they're given an opportunity, because that's not actually what happens. Anyways. Yeah, there was a time skip. There was. They were there for a very long time. Exactly. Exactly. There was a very long time where they were there and supposedly getting by okay. But then there was the trauma from the dead pilot, which they thought was like a horrible monster. And basically their situation of survival was tenuous and already in bad shape from various other factors before things went downhill. It is a good piece of fiction, even on its own. Like, I think it's definitely, like, engaging as a book. It's part of why they teach it. I just think, if you're teaching it as a, watch out, humans are inherently, like, bad and will turn on each other to give a notice, it's like, no, there's, like, here's actually laying out why humans would turn on each other kind of thing, and it's really not just like a natural state. It's that this was what will happen if you get pushed in that direction bad enough kind of thing. But you gotta actually get pushed. It's not a natural thing. Like that one scientist who, like, I don't remember what this was. He had like a really negative view of humanity. He's like, I'm going to prove that humanity is like inherently savage and violent and stuff, and set up this like raft experiment where like a bunch of people from like different, you know, nationalities and genders and walks of life are all like, you know, on this raft together in the middle of the Atlantic, and he's like, they're going to turn on each other any second for the resources and blah 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 and power struggle, and that just didn't happen. Basically people were like, yeah, we're just going to work together to get across the ocean. We are going to become friends, because that tends to be what happens. It's like, oh, if you're in a survival situation, you tend to start relying on other people and all that kind of stuff. So the guy was definitely projecting, why aren't they turning into mindless violent savages? It's like, because that's not actually our natural state of being. You're just thinking that way because bad things happen to you. Here's the Holiday Mansion. It's got a big hole in it. Bad things happen to them. I think it'd be cool if we got a Dark World in the Holiday Mansion, but I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately. Oh, sad. Exactly. You have a reductive view of societies you see as lesser. Well, they're not like me, so they must be savages. That's not how it works. Oh, hello. Thank you for the bits. Do you want to do the doodle request? Then redeem your points. But thank you so much for the bits. We do have that one open for more requests. Will I manage to finish the establishing shot of Doom today? Probably. We're getting close. Good grief! It took so many times to do it. I really hope I can reuse this a few times. It worked it. It's funny that I kind of got the holiday house right in Eldritchrune because this was drawn out before we like saw it in canon. It was like this big thing surrounded by lots of gardens. Oh, please tell me it. Quick, tell me it soon. Otherwise, I'll lose track of it. Laundry. That's what I gotta do next weekend. My laundry. I wish doing the laundry wasn't so expensive. That's another reason why I'd like my own place sometimes. I wouldn't have to pay like a bunch of dollars to do my laundry. Alas, alack. A really big fence here. Maybe for next stream I'll go back to regular part as opposed to stuff from the ending to work on. So I do have background roughs done for the next part. Just there's a section of mini cubes that would probably be really confusing to actually watch be drawn, and I'm gonna have to do a bunch of crazy stuff with perspective and lighting that hopefully will look good when it's done. Only one way to find out, and that's to do it. Teeny little houses in the distance. Yeah, it's a good learning experience, and I really do need to practice more with like perspective stuff like that and lighting. Two things that are very necessary and often get neglected. Especially in like my line of work where I'm doing storyboards, like lighting is the last thing I'm thinking about. Except for like very specific instances where like, okay, I have to have like a certain lighting here, but like for the most of the time, not thinking about the lighting. That is a job for later down the line, and as a result, I don't think my lighting is very good. Some people can just do really incredible lighting and color with their work, and I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous. It looks so good. But you get good at what you do a lot of. That's what practice is. Probably need to do more like value studies for something like that. But yeah, I'm super envious of people that are like really skilled with color. Oh yeah, a whole lot of like doing art is also like bullshitting it. But also, if you do studies and practice proper lighting, that increases your bullshit skills. Because you already will have a sense of like doing it correctly. So if you bullshit it and do it incorrectly, it's more likely to look better. That is the purpose of a study, is not necessarily to do it exactly correct, but just to increase your art muscle. And I've not been great at keeping up with studies, mostly just because I am too busy with work. And then when I'm done with work, I work on this and other projects and pretty much never stop. I do hope I finish Eldritchrune before Chapter 6 comes out. That's kind of my goal. Then I'll have some time to, maybe focus on it. Because I do still want to do like a really big Deltarune project when we have the full game out. So between like 6 and 7, I'd like to be like, okay, I'm going to avoid any major projects and maybe focus on studies, learning Blender, smaller things. I would like to do that, so that's my goal. Yeah, exactly. I'd like to do some small things. Again, I want to do a really big thing after the full game is out. That'll depend on how the game ends, but I'd really like to do like a big thing that will probably require help from people and money and stuff like that. Ha ha ha! I know. The meme. Y'all can have fun with that. 6 and 7. Basically, my goal is to finish Eldritchrune before Chapter 6. Whenever that might be. Kind of hope we have a bit more time between 5 and 6. Like, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. Or something like that. Just enough time for me to get through everything. So I've got good grief, what is it, like maybe 4 or 5 more regular parts I have definitely planned, and I don't know, maybe another one will come up. Releases tomorrow, I'd be like, ah! Yeah, basically the main scenes that I want to include are there basically because I'm like, okay, I want to make sure I include this idea presented before we get to the ending so that this is established. Which is why I'm like, okay, I need to do something else with Sham in particular. I really need to do something important with Azrael. Like I need a 2-parter with Azrael and stuff like that. Just make sure I cover important plot points in some fashion before I get to the ending. You can send a reference over Discord. Do you have my Discord? If not, it's just Lynx Griffin, so not hard to find. But yeah, just send that to me over Discord. If you have a particular reference and don't just want me to try my hand at Trans Azrael, sorry. Trans Girl Azrael. I was like, wait, are you talking about Ross or Azrael? No, Azrael. So yes, if you have a reference, please send that to me over Discord and I will take a look. Keep in mind this is like a really quick doodle. It's like, no more than a minute or 2. So if you want something nicer, wait for commissions to open. Although I don't know when that will be. Maybe sometime this summer. It depends on what my work schedule's like, but probably be a ways before commissions open. Yes, I will happily do a doodle. For now. We're almost done with this battle. Okay, is that sent now? Let me check my Discord. Woo! Take a look. Pending. Okay, that looks familiar. Yes. Okay, I got that. Yeah, please send along your references. Oh, is that a Bissia's take on Des? I love that one. I really like that. I hope Des looks like that. I hope Des is like not super skinny like the rest of the holidays. It'd be nice if she was a little chunkier. I would like that. Bit more butch like Susie is. Almost done. We are almost free from the establishing shot of doom. Almost free. I don't see the references yet. Are they still on the way? I'm on the lookout for the reference. Woo. Will it finish before I finish this panel, which I'm almost done with? Whoa. Is shading coloring a fast process compared to lining for these shots? No. Not for me, anyway. Line work is like, I like doing this on stream because that's my brainless, speedy thing. I see it. Yes, thank you. Like, it depends on, like, some people like prefer sketching and some people prefer, you know, coloring and stuff. For me, coloring is time consuming. That's why even with Eldritchrune, which does include like shading and stuff like that, it still takes a little while. I resist doing full color for that kind of thing. Here we go. Also, very cute picture, very cute art. Nope, a little better. Try and get that right. Very cute. Yay, still built like a fridge, as all the dreamers should be. That's why I'm always impressed by like people that, you know, do really nice color, because for me coloring is a very time intensive thing, and especially like for long comics, it's not practical at all. It is just natural for them. Behind here, I'm not sure what we're doing with that one. Whoop. Now these things always look a little bit funky because I don't do any kind of sketch, it's just straight up drawing it. But there we go. Trying to do a little floral pattern here, just a little suggestion of it. We'll size that down a little bit to fit it in with everybody else. But yeah, that's super cute. Thank you for that request. It is now a part of the doodle page. Yep. I guess I can make them a little bit longer. Again, these are usually done in like a minute, so proportions might be off, but this is not. We can do that a little bit longer. This is why you usually do a sketch first. Okay, maybe not so short now. Should probably be at least about the same length as the body. A little bit of that. Okay, hopefully that's not quite as squat. There we go. Again, very cute designs. Well, thank you. for the request as we slowly fill out the doodle page and we finish this panel. Yes, I'm going to play Love Buster. I'm going to do that once I finish Outer Tail. That's my plan. Because we're still in the middle of Outer Tail. I think we're at basically the Hotland equivalent right now with Metaton and stuff. I'm guessing I probably have about like 2 more sessions, maybe 3 more of Outer Tail left. I don't know how long the Pacifist route is and all that stuff. 1 or 2 Outer Tails left. Okay, that's what I thought. So basically, once I finish Outer Tail, I will be trying Love Buster because I promised I would do that. I got to decide what routes I'll try. I got to do Suzel, of course, but I want to branch out. I don't want to just do Suzel. We'll try some other ones too. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like the Nova Doodle. Again, happy birthday. Yes, be on the lookout for Love Buster in the future. And I'll have to figure out what I'm doing after Love Buster, actually, because I've got options, and I'm trying to, like, okay, once I tackle Love Buster, which maybe it might be like 1 or 2 sessions, depending on how many routes of it I do. Gotta figure out what I should do next. Like, I know I need to do TS Underswap at some point, but I wasn't sure if I should wait for an update on that, potentially, kind of thing. And I've got other ones to do as always as well. Yeah, I know I should do it. I shouldn't. I was gonna wait till it's finished, but I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and go with what we've got now. But I don't know if there's gonna be another update coming, and if I should wait for that before I start it, or if I should just be like, it's 2026 year of the fan game, and we just do a bunch of fan games in a row. Yeah, that's a lot of hair. Good grief. I've heard very good things. That is why it was like on my list of fan games to do. I've just normally have been in the sense of like, oh, I want to wait till the game is finished, but in this sense, I'm like, okay, maybe I should not wait, and we'll just do what we have right now. And it kind of seems like Delta Traveler might go through some changes too, so maybe I should also wait on that. I don't know. I know that's kind of going through a rough patch at the moment. Making games is hard. I considered making a game for a while, and I wrote out a lot of script for it, but it probably was too ambitious for my skill level. A lot of branching path stuff. Yeah, I did a bunch of concept art. I did a bunch of scripting for it and stuff, but as soon as I got to like trying to mess with programming it, I fell apart because I just couldn't have the time dedicated to like learn programming well. So, and yeah, it was probably too ambitious. I should start with something smaller. Games are hard? No way. Who would have guessed? Who would have thought? Project's hard to complete. Yeah, I've heard Godot's a pretty good engine. I was actually trying it in a Game Maker, too. And, like, in terms of programming, it wasn't, like, that bad, actually. Like, it was, a lot of tutorials. I'm like, okay, I can wrap my head around this a bit. But I just did not have the time to devote to it that I could have. Now I've got a lot of concept art sitting around that might never see the light of day again. Oh, well. Maybe I can tackle it again someday in a smaller form or repurpose the character towards something else. Toby was smart in terms of starting small. Ironically, just took off really big with Undertale. Sometimes I do wonder, like, what Deltarune would look like if he had tried to dive into it immediately first without trying Undertale first. Probably pretty different. Honestly, I could see it as, like, if Toby had not done Undertale first, that might be a situation where Asriel actually is the knight. But him having made Undertale first and all that stuff, I think he changed his mind on that early on. Which is all well and good. Yeah, good luck with the project you're doing in Godot. I hope it goes smoothly. Oh, new .hack. That's interesting. I never really watched much .hack. I just had a lot of the soundtracks I listened to like over and over. A lot of anime soundtracks you listen to in college. Oh no, I'm sorry. Oh, I hope it gets easier with practice. Because Godot is a 3D engine, isn't it? Is it 2D or 3D? Or both, I guess. It could be both, but I thought that Godot was a 3D engine. Kind of a replacement for Unity after Unity kind of crapped itself a little bit. That's even more complicated if you're getting into like a 3D engine as opposed to a 2D one. It's both. Primarily 2D, 3D development for the engine ramped up in the last... Ooh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought it was kind of a like a Unity types thing, which is mostly 3D, but interesting. It's mostly been 2D. Fascinating. I suppose if I tried to get into like game development stuff, I should probably start with something that's way more user friendly, even than Game Maker. Try and like do RPG Maker, where like a lot of that stuff's already built in, and you know you just gotta mess with it a little bit, or like something like RenP, where there's minimal programming that has to happen, and it's all about actually making assets. Like making assets, I can do. It's the programming part that's hard, which is a struggle because often like devil's in the details, and the programming is where you can do some really interesting things with the medium. But I'm old and I don't have the skills. Yeah, that would make sense. I know a lot of interesting things have been made in RPG Maker, so that's probably pretty beginner friendly. I might have a copy of it downloaded, or I don't know. I have to check. This was a while ago. This is back when I was on my Mac as opposed to my PC, so it's been a bit. And if I got it for the Mac, I'd probably have to re-download it for the PC because it's not going to work. Unless I do some shifting OS stuff, which I don't really do that often. By often, I mean at all. Yeah, RPG Maker does seem user-friendly. And like, yeah, you can still do cool stuff with it. Like, I know In Stars in Time is RPG Maker, and it looks pretty dang good. I still would need help with like music and sound. That's always something that I feel pretty behind on. I'm not much of a music person at all. I've forgotten how to read music practically. I used to be able to do it when I was younger, and I forgot how it works now. But it's the kind of thing where I need help because like music and sound is such an important part of games, and just media and video and stuff in general. Anything with sound, so important, and that's something I know pretty much nothing on. So you're not waiting for Godot. Exactly. I'm glad I get the joke. Godot's actually on time. One of my favorite jokes from Mystery Science Theater is they're watching a movie called Gorgo, which is pretty much British Godzilla, for whatever that's worth. It's, big giant lizard terrorizes, London, Great Britain. And so one of the skits they do for MST3K The waiting for Godot's for the devs, not the players. Wah wah. So one of the skits they do is, set up like, Samuel Beckett play where they're like, what are we doing? We're waiting for Gorgo. Yes. And then they're like, oh no, there he is! And then just like Mike shows up in a, kaiju costume and throws around the bots. There we go, waiting for Gorgo as opposed to Godot. I think I read Waiting for Godot, but I haven't actually seen like a production of it. Where are the spikes on this? I hope that's covered by text and I can't see. Oh, good grief, it's probably already my time to do a stretch break soon. I wonder which program takes the longest to load. It's the most unresponsive. And I guess any program can become unresponsive if you destroy it enough. This happened to me in high school where I was making a 5-minute long animation all by myself because I was like, I'm just gonna do this. Like, this is what I did for my senior years. I made a 5-minute animation. It was I drew it by hand and then colored it in the computer, and I was putting it together in iMovie because this is like back in the days of like the little iMacs with their cute candy casing and all that stuff, back when technology actually looked really good. So I was doing this on my little iMac, and I was using iMovie to put my animation together, which this was definitely not what the program was intended for. It was intended for you to like slap together a bunch of like, video clips into short little video thing, and I was using it to like upload an image and then set the image to last for 1 frame or 2 frames or whatever. And then just keep doing that and filling this thing with thousands of frames because again it was 5 minutes long. So instead of having like a couple 4 to 6 little video clips in a row with some transitions, this was thousands and thousands of short little clips that were all 1 frame long in iMovie. And iMovie did not like that. It really did not like that at all. It started to get weird the longer on I went. Basically, you add all your little clips to a timeline at the bottom. The timeline kind of overlapped onto itself. I'm going to get up and stretch. The timeline overlapped onto itself, and I could no longer reach the clips that were like at the start of the animation. They were just unreachable because everything was stacked on top of each other. It started taking like 30 seconds for the program to realize I was like moving my mouse, so everything took a really long time to do because like it would just chug on everything. It had so much stuff to process that like just simple actions of like add frame, set it to 1 frame, copy, whatever, move on, just everything took like 10 times as long because it was chugging so hard. The font in the UI changed. I don't know why. It just like was like, I'm not going to use this font anymore. We're going to switch to another one. I don't know why it did that. So I kind of broke iMovie making an animation in it. So I guess any program, if you are just insane enough to it, it'll start to explode. I somehow finished the animation with it. Like I did it, but I think I tortured this computer program in order to do it. If you make an animation, please do it in an animation program and not in a video editing program. Because otherwise, bad things might happen. My poor old little iMac. Look at the Ace Attorney character. Oh, I love Godot. Like, a lot of people don't seem to like Godot from Ace Attorney. He's probably my favorite prosecutor. That could have just because I got a friend who's like, you know, super into Godot as a character, and so that kind of, you know, rubs off on you. It's a Blorbo-in-law kind of thing. But I always thought Godot was pretty cool as a prosecutor in that series. He's a good character. Like, of course you like Edgeworth and all that, but I do think Godot was my favorite prosecutor. He was so weird and wacky. Think of boot to the head. Yeah. Just throwing coffee in him. Oh, one of the rare remixes I have of, like, Glacier. There's not that many of them. They need to do more remixes of stuff like that. People don't do that many. There's no release date on part 3 or anything, just lots of cool dev lore. Okay. In that case, maybe once I finish Lovebuster, maybe we will just go ahead and jump into TSUS if there's nothing else I really need to wait for. I actually made my own Boot to the Head parody, basically with Machinima and Smash Brothers back in the day. I just like got a bunch of friends together, and I didn't know it was called Machinima at the time, because this was like, I think back before Machinima existed, but basically it was the same concept where like we played the audio for Boot to the Head and then did it with Smash Brothers characters. And it was pretty fun. I recorded this on like a little DV camera. That's how old this was. So alright, I will be right back for one more stretch and all that. Alright, I return! One more session. Did I upload it? Maybe. I don't remember. This was so long ago. This would have been with Smash Brothers Melee specifically, so if it's like Brawl or later, that was not me. Like, that's how old it was. It was specifically with Smash Brothers Melee. It would have been ancient, and I don't even think it was on my YouTube. So I might not have uploaded it. I might have just shared it with friends. Okay, if it was Brawl, that was not me, because this was with Melee. Alright, one more session, then I will also have launch. Get ready for launch. Yeah. No, that's how old this was. This was Melee. I definitely do not think I was like, oh, I did machinima before even machinima did. I was the first. I'm pretty sure, like, Quake invented machinima. Quake invented everything. Quake is like, I'm going to invent speedrunning. I'm going to invent machinima. I'm going to invent Team Fortress 2. Yeah, it was fun. When I was younger, I used to just like make a lot of weird videos with our little DV camcorder thing. Stuff like that, or stuff with, you know, stop motion stuff with toys. I invented all 3D animation. All of it. Way. And yet I can't do it now. I lost the ability. Alright, that's got to be in front of this, because there's a thing in front of this. It was fun just being a little kid, and you get your little camcorder, little DV camcorder, and set up a bunch of toys and tell little stories with them and move them around and stuff like that. That's how you do it. The age of I was not that old when Toy Story came out. How old was I when Toy Story came out? I was like 11, I think. Wait, no, was I that old? Toy Story came out in 1995. So yeah, I was probably around that age. Okay, I'm kind of, like, it's kind of shocking that Toy Story came out, like, that early. That it came out in the 90s. It was a big deal when it came out. Nobody had ever seen anything like that. People were like, wow, that's amazing! Alright, that one's done. On to this one. So yeah, like 11-year-old me would not be directing Toy Story. I would have been directing a bunch of stuffed animals to, like, you know, have adventures with each other. They don't do bloopers anymore. I miss those. The bloopers were fun. I think they only did them for like a couple movies. I think they probably were smart to do that because people were like, oh, we love the bloopers. And if they had done that for every movie, that would have gotten old pretty quick. But they didn't. They don't really do bloopers anymore. They did them for like A Bug's Life. And they did them for, I think, Monsters, Inc. Toy Story 2. Oh, they did one for Elio? I should actually watch Elio, I guess. I didn't watch it. I've fallen behind on a lot of Pixar movies. Oops. I heard it was kind of okay. I think they... Another Pixar movie where it feels kind of neutered because, you know, they didn't let it be as gay as they probably wanted it to be. Kind of sounds like that's what happened with Inside Out, too, as well. Like, I'm sorry to tell you this, Disney, but, like, half of your artists are queer in some sense. That's, like, it's like theater. That's just how it is. And I know this because I work in animation, and, like, half of us are queer. In some fashion. Or neurodivergent. Or both. The corporate artist curse. It's true. That's just how it is, unfortunately. I guess it's always been that way. It's like, why are there so many gay people in theater and stuff like that? It's like, we just like doing it. We like putting on a cool show for people and doing a shiny thing. Stops and starts being that way cyclically, yeah, that's often how it is. You'll get like a, you know, sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll get a group of people in charge that, like, will let artists be artists in their own sense, and usually once you, if you, like, are hands off enough and, like, let people experiment and tell their own stories and try things, then, like, you get some really good pieces of art, and oftentimes those have, you know, a queer reading in them because they're very often made by queer people because we like making stories. So sometimes you'll get a cycle where, like, the people in charge will understand that well enough and let you do it. And then that cycles over to they do not understand that, and they're like, well, I'm going to be in charge, and I'm going to tell you what to do. And art tends to suffer when that happens. Even when it's good in that sense, it's not as good as it could have been very often. And sometimes it's not even good. Yep. The woke cycle. Like you look at a lot of like really early Hollywood stuff, like before there was Hays Code or anything like that. Like a lot of really early Hollywood was really kind of wild and subversive, and they were trying like tons of new things. So you look at like some of the earliest movies, and they are truly kind of incredible in terms of like just experimenting and storytelling and what they tried. And then as soon as people got mad about that and were like, stop doing that, and then you go into movies of like the 40s and 50s, which everyone kind of makes fun of, and because they just were not as good because they were so neutered by corporatization and censorship. Wrong. World of Goo. I have never played World of Goo. I am excited for more COG though. I'm super excited because I like the pilot a lot. Give me more COG. I really like the idea, the suggestion in COG, basically, that, like, corporate exploitation doesn't just happen to, regular people and the employees. There is also, in a sense, an exploitation of the fictional character themselves. Like, I think that's a fascinating take on it. That you have this fictional character that means a lot, even to the employee that's being exploited by the company that's working on them. But even the character is suffering exploitation. Yeah, it's got really good art. I mean, of course it does. It's Dana Terrace, so bound to have good art. Yeah, if you haven't seen the pilot, go check out the pilot. Very good. It's clearly not meant to be like a kid's show. There is violence and blood and fluids and all that kind of good stuff, but is really excellent. So I'm excited for more. Excited to see what they do with the characters in the world. Okay, a little bit over here. And I think part of the reason why they're selling an art book and stuff like that is that, like, when you have like a very independent animated series, stuff like that, like stuff like COG, or anything like Digital Circus or Murder Drones, or like anything like that, you live and die by merch. That is where your money is made. The truth is that animation like costs a ton of time and money to do. That's just the reality of it. Like it is something that is really difficult to do on your own. At any kind of like large scale, you have to have a lot of money and manpower and stuff behind that. So if you are not being bankrolled by a giant corporation that can afford to basically like throw millions of dollars at you to make this TV show that should get them eyeballs, then you have to make your money some other way. And the best way to do that is just with merch. Like, that's just the truth of it. Like, even crowdfunding is not going to hold up to, like, decent merch. So if you're wondering why do all these, indie productions, like, sell so much merch? That's why. Because you have to bankroll it some way. Heck, the reason why most major corporate stuff, gets bankrolled as it does is because the corporation is going to make their money back in merch. No, the Spaceball is absolutely 100% true. That's where the real money's at. Spaceball's the t-shirt. Spaceball's the thing. Yeah, that's the truth, is that animation costs a lot of money. It does not produce a lot of money on its own. It does produce more money if you make merch. So that is why independent productions produce a lot of merch. That's where the money is. It is. Unfortunately, you do have to often apply stuff to the toys. Like the show I am working on now, like I'm like, yep, this is made to sell toys. And it is bankrolling my life. It is paying my bills, but it is definitely made to sell toys. And that has been the case for a long time. Perhaps sometime I'll check out World of Goo. Same reason I lobotomized The Mandalorian. I didn't see past the first season, so I have no clue what happened in The Mandalorian. I did see a Mandalorian cosplayer at the con yesterday. Yeah, a lot of Disney Star Wars. Disney Star Wars especially has been a extremely... Well, then again, I wouldn't even say it's been extremely, like, merchandise thing, because it has been that way since the first movie. Since the first Star Wars movie, they have always been heavily merchandising it. Like, one of the things that made Star Wars stand out was how much, like, Star Wars toys they sold. Not many movies did that, especially in the 70s. There were so many Star Wars toys. That was unusual. And that's part of the reason why it stuck around so long. Like, Star Wars has always had so many toys. We grew up, like, my little brother had tons of Star Wars toys. We had action figures, we had the little micro machines, we had big things, we had books, like, we had a lot of Star Wars stuff. Star Wars has always been very merchandised. Yeah, exactly, that's the problem. You can do really well in the ratings, and if you're not making some money back through the merch, they'll kick you out for someone else. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is part of the problem. It's like, okay, merchandising is fine. Again, that's pretty much necessary in order to make your money back. What's really frustrating is when, like, a person up top, the corporate one, is like, you have to do the story this way for the sake of the toys. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. Kids want to see the story first. Like, the toys, they will get the toys because they enjoy the story. And the adults will get the toys because they enjoy the story. But if you are producing this to basically sell something, people pick up on that and they're not so excited to buy it. People, no matter what, people do not like being sold to. I mean, Baby Yoda from Disney Star Wars, The Mandalorian, registered trademark, now available on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. They merchandised a lot of Baby Yoda, or Grogu, I guess it was. I'm feeling very marketable today. Yeah, how did they get into, like, the Book of Boba Fett? Again, I didn't see The Mandalorian past the first season. I've not kept up very well with the Star Wars shows. I did see the first season of Andor, and that was excellent. You know, Andor is, like, a standout, I think, from the rest of them, but I don't know what happened with The Mandalorian past season 1, where I was like, oh, that was cool. I liked what they did there. That was really neat, but I'm pretty sure... I get the feeling that The Mandalorian was subject to we got to do this for the sake of the toy kind of thing, because Baby Yoda got so merchandised. Not very Boba Fett-y. You want Boba Fett in the story about Boba Fett? Well, too bad. More Grogu. Yeah, I should see Andor season 2. Yeah, that one didn't fail, but these, like, corporate guys are like, well, if it doesn't make a ton of money, then it's a failure kind of thing, even though any artist will tell you, no, that's not how it works. Why don't they just make the Mandalorian and the show The Mandalorian, then? Is it because, like, they both have the armor? I forget the species or group or whatever that the Mandalorian and Boba Fett are both part of, with the particular, like, special armor. Basically like space monks kind of thing, but not same space monks as Jedi. Okay, both Mandalorians. Okay, I'm stupid and I forget the name. I'm a dummy. Yes, right, they're both Mandalorians. I'm like, is there a name for the Mandalorians? Yes, the Mandalorians. Wah, wah. Yes, it's been a while. Can you tell? Since I've seen it. I don't really have access to Disney Plus anymore. Unless I track down my brother and be like, can I have your password again? Which he'll probably give me, but I'm busy enough watching other stuff. Yeah, it takes me forever to watch through anything. I can't do like those binge sort of things. I'm like, I ain't got time for that. We're doing this in 15-minute chunks while I eat. Sorry. Yeah, it'd be really nice if we lived in a world where, you know, we could just make art, the kind of art we wanted, without having to worry about having to sell stuff in order to do it. But until, I guess, we get universal UBI and all that kind of stuff, we are stuck having to sell toys along with animation. Not Disneyify the plot. Mercenary conquers anachronistic planet. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just me. I've never found Boba Fett, like, that exciting of a character anyway. Like, I know people have, like, found him really exciting since, like, the beginning. Or whatever. Even though technically his first appearance is in the Star Wars Holiday Special. Which is extremely funny. They're like, oh, I love Boba Fett. And I'm like, okay, what does he do? Maybe Boba Fett is one of those, like, examples of a fandom thing where, like, the excitement is, like, the potential of the character rather than what the character actually does. You know, fans love a character like that, where it's like, I'll imagine what the character does, and it'll be fun. Yeah, he got pretty punked. He fell into the Sarlacc pit. He doesn't even get to do anything cool in his own show. That's so sad. Potential man, Boba Fett. Like, you think of all things, okay, people love Boba Fett. Here, finally has his own show. Nope. You don't get to do anything cool in your own show, Boba Fett. Well, apparently now he's comparatively not insane. Oh, okay, that's good. I'm glad he's not insane anymore. Treasure Planet. Yeah, poor Treasure Planet. Like, people have very fond movies for it, or fond memories of Treasure Planet, and I understand that, but, like, I'm not surprised it didn't do as well as some other Disney films. It had some really fun ideas and other things that kind of fell a little flat with, but it is fun. It is a fun movie. Yeah, as in not insane feats, not as in mental insanity. Oh, okay. That's a little funky. That feels a little, I hesitate to use the word Mary Suish, but it's like, you are just a bounty hunter, dude. You're not a space wizard. I can kill 5 of the space wizards. One hand tied behind my back. Which again, I guess does put Boba Fett back in the, you know, potential man. We love potential man. We can do whatever we want with potential man. Because he's got limitless potential. I did watch the Star Wars Holiday Special once with my friends, and that was a trip. It was like really late at night. The hard thing about the Star Wars Extended Universe, I guess, is that, like, there is so many potential stories you can tell with, like, a universe that big. It pretty much is its own universe. I remember reading some, like, Star Wars Tales comic anthologies, and I'm like, oh, these are so fun. Like, look at all these, you know, cool ideas we can do with these different characters and worlds and stuff like that. And then the actual movies are like, it's all Skywalker all the time. Do you want to explore any other ideas in this big universe? No. Everybody important is a Skywalker or related to a Skywalker, or I guess a Palpatine or whatever. And it's like, okay. But we have a giant universe where we're focusing on one family. That's kind of disappointing. That's probably why I still haven't seen the actual last 2 movies of the sequel trilogy. Because I was like, oh, cool, here's here's Poe and Rey and Finn, and those are new characters, and this looks like fun, and we'll have cool new things to do. And it's like, nope, we're still all about the Skywalkers. Okay. Yeah, like the original movies are. But I do like it when they delve into other places. It's a big universe. Lots to explore. Yeah. I kind of think maybe the sequel should have done is gone in with a plan. Please don't design your movies around what the internet wants them to be. Please don't do that. Please plan out your narrative ahead of time and then stick with it. Sure, there will be some people who do not like it, but who cares? As Toby said, my secret is doing what I think is cool, whether or not it's actually cool. And it's worked out well for him. You gotta do what you think is cool, regardless of whether it is or not. The one plan being ruined. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Which, you should expect that. Of course the 60-year-old actors are not going to be in the best health. Please don't depend on that. Yeah, I love Carrie Fisher too, but please. And then it just feels really awkward when it's like we're going to put in a digital copy of her and you know that's not actually her, and it's like, oh, this feels bad. It's only gotten worse too with that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sucks. Like, oh my goodness, don't design your movie around, like, a fuck you to the person previous to you. This is not a game of telephone. They could have avoided this if they had a plan. Like, it wouldn't even be that bad idea to have different directors. But, like, if you just, like, okay, this is what we're going to do across these trilogies. 1, 2, 3. This is our overall plan for the movie, and we'll see how people, you know, interpret this sort of thing. That could be cool. But they were just kind of making it up as they went. And, like, responding to fan feedback, and you can't do that. People don't know what they want. They say they know what they want, but they're lying. You don't know what you want until you actually get it. That is the curse of art. Is that you have to just trust, again, that what you're doing is cool, even if it's not. And just, like, put it out there. Not worry too much about what people will think is cool or not. Exaggerated reflection of happened before. Yeah, I guess so. Oh man, imagine being in the Star Wars fandom between, like, movies and, like, being like a Luke and Leia shipper, and then it pulls out the, oh, by the way, they're twins. Oh my goodness. I kind of wish the internet had existed at that point, just to, like, so we would have a record of, like, the madness that would have spawned from Star Wars fandoms. Like the Han and Leia versus Luke and Leia shippers. That, good grief. Maybe it's a good thing the internet didn't exist then, because that would have been insane. Krause fans. Exactly. Oh, the ship wars. No, Rousey's not as real. Chris is very keen on pointing that out. Okay, I get it. You don't have to point out the differences. Well, there's clearly something going on with Rousey and why he looks that way. Something's going on. I'm sure there's going to be something that, you know, some big ship or theory or plan or whatever that just gets totally upended with later reveals, and it's going to feel extremely weird for people, and you're going to have to deal with that. We're just going to have to all live with that. I remember a piece of fan art from a while back, a Rousey one, where I guess it's Chris and Rousey, you know, on the tunnel of love, and then Chris just reaches in and pulls out, you know, Toby Fox from the acid, and it's like, Mr. Fox, you have to tell me right now, is this guy my brother? So he's just like family to me in chapter 6. Boom! Destroyed. No, I I do not think that Ralsei is Asriel in any sense, but I do think there is a reason he looks like Asriel. It probably has more to do with Chris than actually Asriel himself. I do really want a moment in Chapter 6 of, like, Asriel and Ralsei meeting, and it's just the most awkward thing in the world. Please show it to us. Asriel can be like, why does this guy look a little like me when I was younger? Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it kind of happened. I'm kind of not surprised about it. Like, everybody was expecting, Toriel to, have to kind of deal with Toriel meeting Ralsei and stuff like that. And even going into and even before Chapter 3, I'm like, I don't think we're going to see much of Toriel. She's going to be taken out of the picture in some way. Like, there's just no way we're going to deal with that at this point in time right now. I don't think we're going to have, a Toriel party member or anything like that. And I was just correct. I just called that one. Literally my first time playing, and then they show, like, oh, here's this Dark World's greatest treasure. This gotcha ball. I'm like, Toriel's in the ball. Toriel's in the ball. And it was correct. It was tragic. It is sad. I feel like for some people that probably was a missed opportunity, but I'm not shocked that it happened that way. Because I think it has to be dealt with at some point, but I don't think it was the time for it to be dealt with, basically. A little too early. We're going to have to deal with this later. Hopefully, if we get more information about Ralsei in the next chapter, if we do get to spend a little one-on-one time with him, if a secret boss is focused on Ralsei, which I would like, and I kind of think will happen. What the secret boss is, I don't know. Just have some kind of Ralsei focus. Let him learn an offensive spell and all that stuff. Let him get a cool scarf. Let him crash out and be super angry and stuff. Let him howl into the void of unfairness of it all. Well, wasn't TLM making an animation of that where she wakes up after they chase stuff? I seem to remember that. Ralsei is there, and it's like, oh, what's up with this? I guess we might have to deal with that in some capacity with Asgore in Chapter 5 if he is an antagonist in any way. I don't think we're going to get out of and then Asgore never appears in the chapter where he's listed as a boss. So that's going to have to, something's going to have to happen with that. So we'll see how Ralsei reacts to Asgore. I'd kind of prefer to see his reaction with Toriel, but alas. Oh, TLM shows up in the server sometime. They do Toriel animations. Animations are hard. Although, I mean, even if we do get to see Asgore a bunch in Chapter 5, I don't think we're going to see him, that much. I don't think he's going to be, involved to the same degree that, Tenna and Queen are, for example. I might be wrong. Maybe he'll be pretty involved, but I kind of get the feeling that something's going to happen, and he will be there, but not as present as some of the other bosses we have encountered so far. We'll be dealing with some other stuff. I still wouldn't be surprised, even if he is, a boss fight, a Phase 1 boss fight, basically, that he's not the final boss fight. It's a switcheroo! Also, once I finish this panel, I'm probably going to have to call it for now, because I got to get some lunch. I'm hungry. Destroyed the small town. Yeah, well, yeah, they're getting there. they've done stuff to hometown, but they've got to get to the fortress, and that's where we're getting to in this part. This is part I think 11. 11 out of 20. Yep, one step at a time. The part after this is going to be an insane one to actually draw for characters. The backgrounds are almost nothing. And it's all characters because it's Susie, like, eating all the army. So, who gets to draw a crap ton of guys? Me. I get to draw a crap ton of guys. Nobody to blame for it but myself. Including guys in armor. Armored guys. Watch out. Bird eating time. We love drawing a bunch of guys in armor. Curse past me. Past plans. Oh no, I set this up. Now I have to execute on it. Ah! Oh yeah, see that is why she did it, but no, the actual fortress also not as bad as hometown, because hometown is a small thing, but fortress ain't off the hook either. Okay, I think that's it actually. Oh, we got through a whole 2 1/3 pages. That one panel took up most of the time, but you know, that's progress. At least, again, I'm glad I did that one on stream. I would have been feeling cranky if I had to do that without, like, chatting to you guys about it. But at least we got the complicated stuff done on stream, so that is good for me. It is productive. So thank you for hanging out with me and chatting while I draw all that stuff. Again, probably will be more backgrounds next time, either this one or the other scene I'm working on. Yep, one step at a time. It'll probably be backgrounds for a bit before we get back to some character stuff, but I'll try and do that soon, because I know that's probably more fun to watch. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. I'm glad you were able to come on a day different from usual. It should be normal Sunday stream next time, and of course, we'll do more Outer Tale on Friday night as we carry on with that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. It's been really fun, and I'm going to go get myself some lunch and all that, and hopefully enjoy the rest of the holiday, and I hope you do too. Anyways, yep, take care. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Oh yeah, play some Love Buster, because that's out. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Alright, I'll see you later.